So recently, the ALA, or the American Library Association, did something really fascinating. They created free speech zones of a sort and supported free speech. That is, until, well, you know how that goes, the ringing and the threats they started. And then they didn't. They decided to back down from what they said. How about this in the future? How about you tell the people out there to maybe go off into their corner, maybe to play with the Play-Doh and let the big kids play? And if they don't like that and they throw a fit about it, well, tell them you want to drink their tears. Salty delight. Hey there. So today we are talking about the subject of free speech and the American Library Association putting out rules and basically backing down from them. Now this, it wasn't just going to happen in some library somewhere. We were talking about an upcoming midwinter meeting in Philadelphia, and the ALA on their event site said they would create a space called quote-unquote the square to quote-unquote allow individuals or groups the opportunity to express support for or object to self-identified topics. They go further to explain the following in a rational way because rational people will listen to rational discourse. Unfortunately, irrational people, they'll get involved too. But first, let's look at this here. We value the free speech of our members, working within our contractual obligations and to maintain the safety of our attendees. There will be a designated area for the expression of social beliefs on the exhibit floor. This area will be predetermined by conference service staff within the contracted space of the convention center based on the need for public visibility and in compliance with facility regulations. For safety and security reasons, these activities may not take place in meeting rooms, exhibitor booth spaces, hotel, or other public areas within the convention center. Activities must comply with existing code of conduct policies. They make very clear what these code of conduct rules are too. You have, of course, no harassment, no intimidation, no unwanted touching, no yelling at people, no threatening people, no stalking. The kind of stuff that rational people, again, would avoid. But of course, you deal with the irrational. Now, this led to many an accusation out there, some pretty funny, some kind of crazy, and some very, very current year. The proposal was ridiculed by librarians on Twitter who joked the square could become an intellectual fight club or Thunderdome. Could you imagine that? The intellectual Thunderdome. 2 men enter, 1 man misses a math question, and well, Master Blaster gets to leave. Many also expressed serious concern that the quote-unquote square would create a platform for what type of speech? No, totally not speech that you just don't like. No, it's going to be hate speech. I love that title out there. And limit attendees' ability to speak freely in other conference areas. I think what it would point out is the fact that other areas you're not free to speak at all. And that would highlight some discrepancies. Now, some commenters theorized that the square was a strategy to control protests. That idea, too, controlling protests, is what inevitably ends up shutting this idea down. Because you'll see here, June 22nd, 2019, protest is part of the ALA. Basically, you have people out there, they love to protest absolutely anything. And the idea of free speech, well, you can drop it by the wayside while you're doing so. Here, for example, you see librarians protesting against the CIA having a booth. And well, I want you to really look at the people that are protesting too. If you drink this in for just a second, you'll notice something. You'll notice that these librarians, that's who's here, librarians, the people that control access to information, they are not tolerant of other ideas. Isn't that fascinating? Librarians aren't tolerant of ideas. Now, you can imagine what these folks would be like when confronted with the idea of free speech in any way, shape, or form. If it's not their speech, they have to shut it down and, well, inevitably get that apology that they wanted. Now, this apology comes from the ALA executive director, and it's going to have 3 parts. Now, what's fascinating about this is how they dance around the subject, shut down free speech, while allowing the caveat of quote-unquote protest. It's amazing, this dance. So the original myth. In internal discussions, the square was seen as a way to provide designated space for protest and for sharing information on issues about which a group of members feel deeply. Clearly, we missed the mark. No, clearly, you misjudged your audience there because your audience is already crazy, all the way in. So we've pulled down the page and we will be regrouping shortly to determine how best we can balance the needs of all of our attendees and exhibitors in Philadelphia. We apologize for the confusion this has caused. As always, we thank you for your feedback. So they shut down the freaking web page for this because, oh my God, those protesters, and again, flashback to those protesters. Oh man, yeah, you really did misjudge your folks. So an update on that. As has been the ALA's long-standing practice, there will be no designated space for protest at the ALA conference. Any registered conference attendee can protest peacefully during the conference. However, if the protest becomes disruptive or causes a safety concern, the protesters will be asked to stop by the ALA security or the ALA conference service staff. Again, we apologize for the confusion. See you in Philadelphia. Can you imagine renting booth space in this just to have a bunch of these folks gather outside of your booth? I mean, that's not disruptive in any way, shape, or form, is it? See, that is an insane idea, too. Then they come back and tell you about free speech. The ALA Executive Board is fully committed to intellectual freedom. We believe that words and actions of our association should reflect our most cherished values, including free speech in every form of its expression. We affirm the right of ALA members to peacefully protest, and we will work closely with all stakeholders to ensure members' rights are always first and foremost in any decision and how it is communicated. So you see the fact that they back down, even though when you think about it, these folks could always go out and use that square too. They could have talked about free speech. Now, free speech is an all or nothing thing. You either have it or you don't. That's why I support places like The Farms, for example, or other websites out there that people, they may be bothered by. They may actually have people on you don't like. But the idea there, the idea that you can speak and you can speak freely, that is sacrosanct. It needs to be protected. That's why this stuff troubles me too. But anyhow, you leave me your comments on it. What do you think about this? So closing, I want to say thank you for showing up and thank you for participating. You do make this stuff possible. Plenty of these people, they forget that, and woe be it unto them. You know, if you want to help this channel out, consider subscribing to it and sharing videos, and also let me know what you think about the format here. I don't want to take up any more of your time either, except to say thank you for it. I do appreciate that, and we'll be doing this again soon. Thanks.